Yeah, we're going to, add some little validation to the application that we have been working on, and after that, I'm going to be talking about some of the method of array, and if there is time, I'm going to move into modern JavaScript. So, what are the stuff you need to know before you move to any framework? Because we have modern JavaScript like import and exports, and we have a lot of other goodies too that you can do. And again, too, we have understanding of terminal because if you want to work with any of this framework, we have a toolings that you need to have access to, and some of these tooling you are not going to be working with them on the browser. You are going to be working with them outside of the browser through the terminal. And I'm going to be showing you some of the commands. Terminal is a general stuff. It's not even related to a back front end. You can use it again for backend or any other thing that requires you accessing the operating system directly from the command line. So you always use terminal. So whether you call it terminal or command line, it's all the same. It's just depending on the operating system you are working with. When you are dealing with Linux or you are dealing with Mac, they call it terminal at that place. But on Windows, we call it command line or CLI there. But in general, they are all the same thing there like that. It's just a way of you communicating with your system without using the graphical interface. As you can see, this VS Code now, I can create file by just clicking on this button. But this button here is actually communicating with the system behind the scene. So the code that this thing is doing, you can actually type those commands directly yourself from the terminal, and it's still going to do the same thing as what this button is going to do. This button is just there for convenience, which is what we call the graphical user interface, which is GUI. But apart from GUI, we have other way of you interacting with your system, which is the CLI or the terminal, where you can type the command to generate or to give a command to the system to do something for you. And some of the tooling you are going to be using later on, you are going to be typing them from the terminal because yeah, once I get there, I'll talk about JavaScript outside of the browser. So everything we'll be doing is just JavaScript inside the browser. Before you can see the results, you have to load it on the browser. But it's not always like that because there's some stuff that needs to run with all those framework later on before you get to the browser. So how is it going to run those JavaScript code outside of the browser? We're going to be talking about Node.js later on, which allows you to run JavaScript code, and you can use it to build backend in case you want to do a backend too there like that. So and what do we want to do here? So let me open the design file once again. So going back to the design, and I have these active states. So under this active state, as you can see, when user input a value that is wrong, there is error message that is coming out, even though we did not design it for the error message to show at the top here, but we are going to be putting it under. But how do we do something like this? So when the user imputes anything that is wrong, for example here, don't forget we can type anything inside this box, which is not making sense. So I pick 10%, and here too I'm picking this file. As you can see, nothing is going on, and the user did not know what is wrong. So we should be able to inform the user that something has gone wrong there like that. For example, what I showed you before, going to this website, this yellow website once again. I hope you can hear me, and no issue with the audio and the video why this thing is ongoing because
Yes, I can
was
hear you.
all right. So going into the login page for this site, you're going to see that they have some validation which I've shown already from the first video. So we should be able to tell them that what they input here is wrong by following the design we have here. So the line of the box should change to red, and again under it, that's where we're going to put our own error. We can put it here too, but we still start dealing with some CSS that I don't want to go into right now. So what we're going to be doing here is that anytime there is error, this is our box. So as you can see, we have the label and we have the box for the control. So under this place, this is where we are going to place the arrow. But we're not going to be doing it from the HTML. We are going to be generating it directly from the JavaScript so that we can put all those things that we've learned together too. By now, you know how to create element from JavaScript. So that's what we're going to use. Create it, then come here and place it at this location here. So we're going to select this control like that. But how do we get this control? From this side, you are going to see how to do it later on. For example, this input, I can get his parent. Then from this parent too, I can get his own parent. Then I will now put whatever I want to put inside it. That's one way. Another way is for you to just give it a particular class here and you use it to select it. It depends on what you want to do like that. The best method that you want is what you always go with. So but I think I'm going to go with the other one so that you can see other ways of handling this. And we've talked about how to select your element directly like this, but I'm going to do it in another way. So we already have access to the input from JavaScript. Then from this input, we get its own parent, and that parent too will now give it its own parent here because this is what we need so that we can put something at this side. So in order for you to put something at this end, you need to have access to this div. And in order for you to have access to this div, you need to select it from the JavaScript, which is what we did here at the top. But we don't want to select it like that. We already have access to the number of people input. Again, too, we already have access to the billing input. So from this input now, we want to be able to get to this div. So it's possible in JavaScript, and I'm going to be showing you using that method instead of just giving it a class here and we use that class to select it. And why can't I just use this class? Is because it's not just one element that owns that class. You can see it's here and it's here. But how do I know when to put it at this side or when to put it at this side? That's what I need the input, because the ID of the input is quite different from each other there. So this one, the input here, ID is bill, while the ID of this one, and we've already targeted them from the JavaScript there. So we already have access to the bill input. We already have access to the number of people input. And through those input, we can get their main control container from them like that. I'm going to be showing you soon when we get there. So what do we need to do? In our code, we already have access to the event listener where we are listening for the event on the bill and when we're listening for the event on the input, because you don't want to do this in until the user type. So once they come to the page for the first time, nothing is happening, so we don't want to do anything. But once the moment they type, we're going to do all the necessary validation, whether they input something that is okay or not. So once they type, we check. Once we check, if it's valid, then the border is going to maintain what is there right now. But if it is not, then we change it to the red and the error message is going to come under here. So there are two types of message that we need to work on. So the first message is going to be invalid value like that. So for example, now 60 is not valid, but 0 is valid, just that it cannot be 0. So for this one, now if it is 0 that is there, this is what we are going to so it's going to be this error message that is showing you. As you can see, it can be 0. So when they input 0, can be 0 is what is going to come outside. But if it is something else that is not valid, so like this 60 like this, so what is going to be there is going to be invalid bill amount like that if it is under the bill we are working with. If it is a number of people, then it's going to be invalid number of people and so forth like that. So how do we do this thing? If you look at it now, what we want to do right now, the same thing I want to do here is what I want to do here. So it would be nice if you just create a function that handle both of them. But for you to understand what is going on first, I will just so let's create a function for it first. So what we're going to do here is a function set error like that. So this is what this thing is going to I'm calling it set error. It can be any name you want to call it. It can be check error or validate. Let me call it validate input like this, and it's going to receive the inputs. So what is it going to receive? It's going to receive the value, and at the same time is going to receive the input. So what is the input? The input is going to be this. So we either pass this bill or we pass this number of people, and based on that, it knows which element from here to communicate with. So if you pass this input, it knows that it's supposed to be this container as a parent, and if you pass the other input, it knows that that's what is going to be there. So we have this function because whatever I'll be doing here is still the same thing I'll be doing here. The difference is just the message and where to place it, but the functionality is always the same, just like the way we have this calculate. So whether you input the value or you input the number of people or input the bill or the things change, is always going to do the same calculation. And that's the same thing we have down here. So, but this one now is just for two things are there. And why do we need to receive? Why do we need to receive all this thing? The reason we need to receive it here is because we don't know whether this is where we don't know whether you are using it here or here. So how are we going to know where it's being used? That's the reason why we are receiving the parameter. So whatever parameter you pass into us, we determine where this thing is being used. So if here now, if I call it from here, maybe I just call it validate from here. So validate input. So now once I pass the value, so the value is going to be b value, and at the same time the input is going to be bill input. So doing it here too, the same function, once we call it like that, so validate input. So instead of it to be this one now, it will now be what we are using here. As you can see, this is the advantage here, because there is some function that needs to work, but they don't care about where those things are coming from. What they care about is the value you are passing to them, and based on the value you pass to them, they will act on that. So if you call it under this place, the value is going to be whatever we put inside the b value, and the input where it is going to put the error is going to be based on this. But if you look at it, they follow the same pattern. The pattern too have to match, because if you look at it here, we have input here, and at the same time this is input, and again the structure is the same, so that by the time we want to get this parent later on, there won't be any problem. So you have to create a function in a way that matches what you are trying to do
I
on
can
the
hardly
page.
hear this. The network is
Ah, I'm recording this stuff, Sha. I'm recording any one of them that skip, so the recording has already picked it up. So uh, that will be a problem there like that. But what about now? It's still not. This still doing anyhow.
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah. So what I'm saying here is that I have this function.
It's better now. It's better.
Yeah, I have this function validate input. So validate input, it's going to work like this calculate. But this calculate here did not receive anything as parameter, but this one is receiving value and input. So why do we need to put it here and we did not do the same thing? So if you look at this one here, you see that all the value that this one needs is already being used here. So it did not need anything from any of the value. The value at the top here, that's why we declare them at the top here. So we already declared all the value at the top here. So any function that is under it, we have access to this value that is here. And that's the reason why this one is not receiving it. Instead of you declaring at the top here, you can be passing it to all these functions too, but I don't need to be doing that because there is going to be a lot of work. But for this validate input here, it needs to receive the value and the input, because the value is what is going to check. So this is the value. Whatever you put inside the box is a value, and for the input is where you are typing the stuff from. So here, this is the input for the number of people, and this is the input for the bill. So based on the input you pass here, that input is what we are going to use to locate this container here. So if the input you pass to it is this number of people, this number of people will locate this container. And if it is this input you pass into it, then this one will locate this container, and it will generate the necessary element that it needs to generate there like that. And this function, we are reusing it in these two places. So how is it going to know that you're using it with bill input? That's the reason why it's expecting all this value. So once you pass it inside this place, if the value, if the input is this one, then it knows that it's supposed to add on this one. And if it is this one too, it knows that it's supposed to add on this one. As you can see where I'm calling them. And what do we want to do? We need to check whether the value you give to us is valid number or not. So how do you check whether something is valid number or not? No, I've explained it the last class here. So we have this number that you can always call, and you pass whatever you want there. So if I pass this 60 there like that, you see it's telling us that it's not a number. So which means the value that the user is giving to us is not something that we can work on. And since it's not something we can work on, that means at this point we need to show the error, which is going to tell them that invalid number. So anytime we get this not a number as a value, it means we need to show this error under the box there. But what if you pass something that is valid? For example, if I pass 0 now, 0 is valid to number, but to us it's still not valid, even though it's coming back as a number. But if it is 0, so what we now do is that can be 0. So this 0 we need to show. So when it's showing this NaN, we are going to show invalid value. But when it is showing 0, we are going to show this one. So how do we know? It's easier there because we've done some of them here at the top like that. So we've done some of them at that place or inside the calculate too. We've done some of the thing there. So what we don't just need to do here is to get our so const value number. So I'm calling this value number is going to be number then value like this. So this one is going to give us what we need. So how do we now check whether it is 0 or it is something? So what we need to do here is that um if value number is less or equals to 0. So anytime it is less or equals to 0, what do we want to do? We need to show a particular error. So let me undo the everything. Normally this is what we want to undo when it is equal to 0. But I just remember now we need to undo when it is less than 0 too, because this is not valid. So if I use -3, it doesn't make sense that your bill is negative value. So it's not just 0 we need to undo. We need to undo when it is less than 0 too. So when it is 0, what we put here is can be 0. When it's less than 0, what we put here is that it cannot be a negative number. So yeah, what we need to do to check equality, this is what you use to check equality. So this is what we need to do something here later on. So when it is 0, again, else if, so we need to check another one. So if it's not 0, then we need to check again if the value is less than 0. So if it's less than 0, we need to do something else at this place. Else if not value. So not value number means that at this point what you are getting back is not a number. So at this point, if you can get here, what you are getting back means is this one. So we've already checked if it is number and it is 0. We want to show a message here that can't be 0. So here, if the value is still number but it's less than 0, at this point you are getting something like -3, -2, and so forth like that. So what we want to show here is that can't be negative like this. So and at this point what we are going to show is invalid value. So invalid value. So these are different message we need to show. But after that, if none of them is matching, it means everything is okay. So at this point when it is S, so we need to clear all error if available. So at this point, so if there is any error there before, we need to clear it. But I'm not going to do this one yet so that you can see the reason why we need this side. So this is what we need to do. Under this validate, what it's going to do is to check, which is what we are doing right now. Check if the value is equal to 0. If it is 0, we need to display this error can be 0. Then if the value is not 0, but it's still number and it's less than 0 there, so what we need to show is that it cannot be negative. And if it is not even number at all, so like you have like 60 or any other thing that cannot be converted to number, what we do is that we show invalid value. But what if you already have error before and you now validate the stuff? That error will still be showing even if the stuff is now okay now, and that's the reason why we need to clear it. But you are going to see it in action there like that. So this is what we need to do. But where do we need to put the error? So we need to generate this element here. This is what we need to do, but it's going to happen from JavaScript. Down here, we need to create a p tag, and inside this p tag, this is where we now put the message. So the message that we're going to be generating from JavaScript is going to be here. And again, we're going to give it a class, which is going to be this error, so that I can style it. And at the same time too, our input, so these are the things we need to do. So our input is going to have class error like this. So this is what we need to do from JavaScript. So when there is a class error on your input, we need to change the border color. We are going to do it soon. And when there is a P with the class error too, this one needs to show under. As you can see right now, it's showing. This one is not showing the border, but the CSS, we are going to put it there now. So let me go to the CSS, and what we just need to do down here. So let me go down. So where is the input? We selected our input somewhere. So let me go to, so this is it. So anytime there is the control group like this, and we have input with the class, so we have it with the class error. So the border color is going to be, do we have any error color? They did not give it to us. So for now, we'll just use red, or let me just create a variable or let me just use red. Let me create a variable for it. So error like that. So this is going to be red for now, and I'm going to update it. So anytime we need this red, is always going to come back like that. So I'm going to use this red. So go back down there, then we're going to have this bar, so which is going to be error like that. So anytime it has this, again, so another thing that I need to do is the p tag. So we need to work on that p tag. Let me scroll down to the section, or let me scroll up back to that input side. So where is it? Yeah, so at this side, I'm going to have anytime there's a p with a class error, what we need to do here is the font size is going to be 0.5. Then the color is going to be the error color like this. So save, go back to the page. As you can see, the border is now having that red, but this red is too dark, so let me take it to a lighter red, and I want this red of this side. So let me take it up to this. So save, go back to the page. As you can see, so this is what is going to happen. So when there is a class, error on the input, the borderline is going to change to red like this. And when there is a class error on a p tag, then the message too is going to be in this way. But this is not how it's going to be, because now if I reload, it's showing the message here that is not supposed to be. Again, too, this border is having red, which is not supposed to be. Is when the user type that all these things are going to happen. So we need to generate this p tag from the JavaScript, and at the same time we need to add this class error on our input anytime any of this thing happen. So anytime any of this thing happen, we need to generate our p tag and we add it. Again too, what I want to do here is the same thing as what I want to do here, is the same thing I want to do here. I can create a function for that one too, but for now I will not going to do that. I will extract it later on like that. So how do we get this container? So how do we get this container? How do we get this container from this input? So how do we get this container from this input? Please, I hope you can hear me, because this thing I think I've not explained it before, so I want to explain it now. Because we have something called transversing the DOM in JavaScript. So we have transversing the DOM. And what does that mean? When you are talking about transversing the DOM, it means from one element you can get to another element from JavaScript. It's not a must that you select everything like this in your code. You can have access to one of them, then based on their relationship there, you can get the other one. Based on the way they are related to each other, you can get another element that is related to that. I hope you can hear me and this thing is showing. Hello?
Yes, it is
All
loud
right,
and clear.
so yeah, so for example here now, we have access to the input. So let me console log it out from JavaScript. So we have access to the input from here. So let me just console log it out here so that you can see what I'm talking about. So console log out, we have this input. So we have access to the input. We have access to the input, and let me type something. As you can see, I have access to this input. Anytime I type something. But it's not input that I need. I need other one too. So it's not only the input that I need this container so that I will be able to generate this p inside it. I need to add a class on this one. I already have the input, but I need to have access to this container too. So how do I get to this container? So from one element, you can get to another element based on their relationship there like that. And these are the type of relationship you can work with there. So you can get parents from child. So if you have access to the child, you can get the parent. So this is the input. Input is part of this thing. So from there, I can get access to its parent. Again, too, you can get child then from parent. So these are another method. Maybe you have the parent, then you want to get his child, then you can have access to it. But this one have different method that you can have under it. So that is one and so forth like that. But the one I actually need right now is this one. I already have access to the child. And what is the child here is the input. But I want to have access to this parent so that I will be able to have access to this parent. So from child, you can always know his parent by input parent like this is going to be the input then parent element. So in order for you to get access to any element parent, what you just need to do is to call this object, is to call this property here. So this one will always give you the parent of where this input is coming from. So anywhere you place this input on a page, when you use dot parent element, it will always give you its parent. And if you look at our structure now, what is the parent of this input? The parent here is this div. So the parent of this input is this div. There's a way of selecting this image too. Maybe you have image, you want to select what follows it. There's another way of doing that too, but we don't need it right now. So I don't want to bother with something we don't need. So if you have input and you want to get its parent, any element, so if it is this label too, you have access to, and you want to get its parent, just use this parent element. So it will always give you whatever parent that is holding that element. So just like the way we console log out this input, I can move this thing down, and what I can just do here is going to be input parent like this. So if I do input parent, it should be this. What's wrong with my keyboard? So go back to the page, and once it's load, so let me type this. Can you see now? I have access to the input, but from the input, I'm locating the parent. So to get the parent of any element, just use this dot parent element. So from the input, you can see the input is inside it. So since the input is inside it, you have access to its parent. So from there, once you do this, it will give you its parent. And this one too, if you want to get its own parent, because we need to go backward 2 times. So we are inside this input, we need to get this parent. So since you have access to this one, again too, if you want to get its own parent, you just need to connect it again to its own parent element. It will give us this. If you want to get the parent of this one too, which is this left, you use another dot parent element and so forth like that, depending on the level of the parent you want to go to. So if I want to get, if I want to get the container like this, so it's going to be this input parent, so that I already have access to. That one too, I'm going to use its own parent element. So the more parent element you add to it, the more it's going to be giving you its parent. So the first element we have is input. So the first this parent element here is going to give us this one. So if you use it again on that one too will give it its parent. If you use it on this one too, it will give you this section. If you use it on section, it will give you this one. If you use it on this one, it will give you main. If you use it on main, it will give you body, and so forth like that until it gets to the HTML, which is the highest element that we have there. So the more parent you are using here, the more is going to be doing this. So instead of inputting them on a separate line like this, I can actually combine them together on one line. But because I wanted to see what is going on there, that's why I'm putting them on a separate line. So input parent element will give us its own parent. The element that is here too, we are accessing its own parent, because that's what we need. We need to access two parents before we can get to that element from input. So this is the input. I need to have access to this. That's the first dot parent. Then I need to go to this one. That's the second dot parent. So this is the second dot parent from input. From input, this is the first dot parent. Then from input, this is the second dot parent. From input, this is going to be the third one, so which is going to be this section there, and so forth like that, depending on the structure. So the number of dot parents you are going to use here is depending on how you arrange your element. So if the input is just under this one directly, and this is the one you need, you don't need to be doing another dot parent again. The number of dot parents you are going to do is depending on the number of elements that you want to locate. But I'm not going to be doing the dot dot on the same line like that. So I'm separating them so that I can put it in a different variable. But it's not a must. As you can see that I'm still calling this inputs back like that. And once we have access to this container, inside it we can put anything we want to put there. What we want to put there, we want to generate this p tag, and we put the error class on it, and we put the necessary message. And we've talked about how to create elements already. The only thing that we've not talked about is for us to locate another element. This method might seem long, but it's not that I'm just using it to explain this method here. If you don't want to do it in that way, what you can do here is to give them separate selector, and based on that selector, you pick any one of them automatically there. But that's bad, because the reason it's bad is because if you have another one here, you have to be giving them class one by one. But from JavaScript directly, anywhere you call this validate input and that input you pass, it will pick the parent automatically. So which input you are working with, it will pick its parent automatically instead of you giving a separate classes here that you have to be generating different this thing, and you'll be selecting. Once you see that the thing is dynamic or it can be used in different places, you always do it in this way that it will be easier. You can do it other way too. That way it will work, but extra work is going to be done, and you know that you don't want to be doing extra work when you have much elements later on. That's why JavaScript is always crazy, because we can do things in different ways here. So what do we need to do now? What we need to do, since we have access to that, so we need to create our p element. So p, or the message, like this, the message box, which is the p. This is what I'm calling message box. This p here is what I'm calling, or let me just call it the message paragraph, like that. So paragraph like this, which is going to be document, then dot create element. We've talked about this one before. So we are creating p, then this message paragraph like that. So the message paragraph, what do we want to do? The message paragraph right now, we want to inner HTML is going to be this message that we want to show. So can't be 0. So that's the message we want to put. Then this message paragraph like that. So message paragraph, then dot class list. All this one we talk about all of them. Then what are we adding? We are adding a class. So everything that I just did on one line here is what we are doing from JavaScript here. So we are creating the paragraph. Then after creating the paragraph, we put the content inside it. Then again, we set the class, which is what we have here. So we are setting the class error on it like that. So, and how do we display? Don't forget, anything you are creating from JavaScript, they are not going to be on the page at all. By default, they are not going to be on the page. You need to put them in a parent. And that's the reason why I need this container. That's the reason why I'm selecting all these parent here, because that's where I'm gonna do this container. I've explained all this one too before. Then we append. So I've talked about append. So append child. And you know what the append child will do? It will add to the end of the list. Don't forget, this is one of the lists there like that. So this is one of the item label. Another item here is div. Then after this div, it will now append to the end of it like that. We have talked about it, so you can check the video again where we talked about all these basic JavaScript stuff. So now let me save it, and there is something that is missing, so let me do this one too. So this is our input, then dot class links like that, and dot add error, because don't forget we need to add error to that input too. So save, go back to the page, and reload everything. And here now, once I add 0, can you see? So once I 0, because that's the only thing we take care of. But now if I do it with any other thing, it will not work. And at the same time too, let me reload. It did not reset the error. So if I put maybe like R, as you can see, it did not work, because we only undo when it is 0. And that's why we see all this one, they are there. So when it is less than 0, we do not undo it yet, but we are going to add the stuff. Again, if I use -3, as you can see, nothing is happening, because I did not undo the error. So what do we need to do? Can you see what I'm doing now? I need to copy all this message again. Copy everything like this. The only thing that is just changing is this message like that. But this thing is going to create a problem later on. So can be negative like that. Again, let me do it for this one too. Let me do it. Can you see the repetition now? We are repeating ourselves. I'm going to solve this one later on, because we are not supposed to be doing like this. We're supposed to do it once like that. And I'm going to quickly do it soon. But for now, let me copy everything down here too. So I'll just leave it for, because I'm explaining it. So that's why it's like this. If I'm doing it in a normal sense, this is another function on their own, because there's a lot of repetition here. The only thing that is not changing is a message. The only thing that is changing is a message. So what we do here is invalid value. So save like that, and go back to the page. So now if I type, as you can see, what we are seeing here is invalid value. If I reload it again, use minus, as you can see, first it shows invalid value, and next it now bring out this can be negative. This is the error here. As you can see, the error is now 2. So as I'm typing, it's creating more problem for us, and that's where this one comes in. So that's where this one comes in. But before we do it again too, what we can do is to remove all the p tag that is there before. So we need to remove whatever that is there before, or clear everything that is any error that is there before, and make sure that we can is not on the page. Hello, is this thing still hello? Because it looks like this thing is getting that's why I did not add this validation stuff when we are doing it
I
the
can
first time, because
I can hear you.
yeah, so
I
the
can hear you.
validation is, so let's convert this one first to a proper function. Let's convert it to a proper function before we now solve this problem. As you can see, we solve a particular problem, but it's bringing another problem for us. So let's solve this one first before we move to the next listen. This is what you always do. Error is always where you be spending most of your time. Error or handling user input, that's where you are going to be spending a lot of your time. See that what we did before, it looked sweet, but after getting to this part now, things started getting anyhow, because you solve one problem, is introducing another problem. Because here now, it's not supposed to be creating multiple stuff, it's just once, but it will be changing the message that is there. So if it is there before, it will remove it, then add the stuff. But if it's not there, then it will just update whatever that is there like that. So we are going to solve it in that way soon. But before we get to that, we need to convert all this one that we are doing here, because if you look at it, everything here is the same thing here, is the same thing here, and is the same thing here. If you look at this, all these item here, let me move them side by side. So this one and this one is still the same thing as what I'm doing here, is the same thing I'm doing one there, is the same thing as what I'm doing here, still the same thing here. So instead of us repeating ourselves like this, we can create a function that is going to generate that stuff. So what we can just do is uh um create elements or create error like that. So create error message like this. So what do we need to receive? We need to receive the input where it is going to put it like that, and it needs to receive the message. Those are the things that are different here. So those are the things that is different. We need to know the input where you want to add this stuff, and at the same time I need to know the container like that, or from there sef I don't even need to be doing this thing from here. So let me move this logic from here too, because we don't need it here again. So we are going to move this one out, so let me cut it out. So cut this one out like that. We already have access to the input, so from here, as you can see, we are getting the parent. Then after getting the parent, what we need to do here too is to cut all this one out. So cut it out like this, then move it this side. So move it to this side. So what are we doing? We are creating a message box. Then the message box, we set the message. So instead of it to be this dynamic, so it's not going to be whatever you pass. So the input and the message you pass is what is going to use it. So this one still remain the same, this one remain the same, and this one too remain the same. So where do we use all this in? So where do we use all this in? We just need to come back at this side. As you can see now, see how easy it is. So all this one, we don't need it again, like that. Again, down here, I just need to remove everything. Let me remove this AI, is overdoing its work. Can you see how easy it is? Can you see how small it is? Can you see how simple it is when you're dealing with function? So instead of me repeating all this stuff here, instead of me repeating it, we only have it once. What we just need to pass is the input, because based on the input, we are going to get the container, and after getting the container, we are going to do all the necessary stuff. This one is not solving our problem yet. The problem we just did here is to simplify our this thing. So I'm not adding anything here yet. Don't do what I don't send you. Don't do what I don't send you. Let me format this thing. What's wrong with this VS Code? Yeah, so now save the code, go back to the page. Everything with the error, we are still going to be having the error, as you can see. But now we are able to simplify the code that we have here. So instead of me having this line multiple times, anytime I need to make changes, this is where I'm going to do the changes. And the changes I want to do right now is to check whether this thing is there before or not. So we need to check whether this error message is being displayed already or not. If the error message is there, what we just do, we update it. And if it is not there, then we create it. So instead of me creating it the way I'm doing it here now, that I'm doing append here, I'm not supposed to be doing append if it is there before. So how do we check whether this element is there before or not? How do we check whether this element is there before or not. We can do our selector here. So const x6. So what I just need to do here is to come up. So up here, let me move this thing up. So how do you check whether one element is there or not? What we just need to do is to query the container to look for whether something there is already there or not. So what am I looking for? Is not this error like this. It's supposed to be P. So what I'm looking for is that, or don't let me even do it. Let me do the one you know already. So document already. So yeah, what I'm doing is that this one will not work. This one will not work because it can be in another page. So this is what we need to do. So we have this container. So what I'm saying here is that this is the container here. What I'm saying here is that go inside this container and look for this P. If the P is there, it's going to return the element. But if the P is not there, this one is not going to be there at all. Let me console log it out so that you see. So like this. And let me put a message beside it. So existing message is going to be this. I don't know what's wrong with this VS Code. Complete this thing for me. Let me clear the stuff. Yeah, so what am I doing here? So this is it. We are checking this container whether it have this P with the class error. If it have it, it's going to return it for us here. But if it doesn't have it, you'll see that it will be null. For the first time, it will be null. For example, here now if I put negative, can you see existing one is null? But now since it's not displaying message, so if I type another thing, can you see that error message is not there? So this is what we need to check. So if it is null, we know at that point there is nothing here. But if it is not null, that means something is already there. So if something is already there, we update it. But if it is not there before, then we create it. And that's what we need to do here. So how do we check whether it's already there or not? So how do we check whether it's already there or not? So we can do our condition here. So if existing, message, so if you check here, this is how you check. So it means it's already there. But if it is not, then that means you are going to create it. So if it is there, we update the message. So what we need to do here is to update message. But if it is not, then you create the element. So this is what we need to do. So if it is there before, which is this invalid message, we just change the message to this. But if it is not there before, then we are going to create it. So what do we do when it is not there? So all this thing, I'll move it under this S. So this message paragraph, I'll move it up. This one too, I'll move it up. And this one, I'll move it up like this. But if it's already there, what we just need to do is just to do this existing message. The inner HTML is just going to be the message. So this is what we are doing. So we check, we locate this P first, whether it is there. If it is there, we update it by just changing its message. So we don't need to add it again. It's already on the page. But if it's not there, then at this point, we create it, we put the message, we set the class, then we add it on the page. So whether it's there before or it's not there before, look at this one. It's always down. Because if I move it up, it means I need to duplicate the code. And since it's going to happen to both of them, so that's why it is outside of the condition. So it doesn't matter whether it is there before or not. This, your input border will still always be red for any error there like that. So save, and this one should solve our problem. So the first time is going to be invalid value. If I put 3, can you see now? It update the message. So anytime that the message is, anytime the error is there, it will update it. But if it's not there, then it will just remove what is there like that. So if I put something else, as you can see, invalid value, and it's going to be value, and if I do this, it's going to be like this too. And if I do it down here too, as you can see, it's working too. This is the advantage of the function that we are creating here. The reason why we created all these functions is because whatever I'm doing with the first one, it will happen to the second one, because I just call the same function. I don't need to be repeating everything, because what I need to do is that everything that I did here and everything that I did here, I need to repeat it in these two places. So instead of me repeating the code, what do? We extract the part that it's common into a function. And anywhere we need to update, we receive it through the parameter. And that parameter is what we are using to update the part that will change. And again too, we discovered a problem. Anytime there is error, it's creating a new box. So instead of it creating a new box, what do we want to do? What we want to do is that we check whether it is there before. If it is there, we update the message, because the message is already there. The paragraph is already there. But if it's not there at that point, because when I reload this page for the first time, there's no error at all. So that means the P is not in the HTML. So we need to create it, and that's what this part is there for. So check, locate the element, select the element first. If it is there, update the message. But if it is not there, then create that P from the JavaScript, then put the content, add a class, then now add it inside this container. And at the same time too, update our input to have this. So what do we need to do now? We need to create another function that is going to clear our error. So we need to create another function that is going to clear our error. For example, here now, assuming I have error before, I have AB. So now imagine I clear this AB and I put 56. Can you see? I've already put something that is right, but it's still showing error. It's still showing that I have error, even though I've removed what is causing error and I've replaced it with something that is not supposed to cause error. Even the code is working already, so if I put 56 here too, or let me put 5,600, and here let me just put 5 people, can you see here too it's showing error? And if I put 10%, can you see it's working? Because all the value are now okay, but it's still showing that we have error here, even though no error at all. Even though no error at all, it's still showing that we have error, and that's where this part comes in. So anytime we don't have error or nothing is wrong, we need to clear, because we don't know whether there is error there before or not, just like the way we are doing it down here. So we don't know whether this thing is there or not, and since we are taking the element from here, so if this one return null, at that point we'll be able to know that it's not there. And if it's not returning none, we know that something is there. The same thing here too, we've checked. If it is 0, we know that we need to display error. If it is less than 0, we need to display error. If it is not even a number, we need to display error. But what if it's now okay? So we need to clear the error. So if it is okay, and why do we need to do that? Is because we don't know whether there is error, because if I do it for the first time with a number, there is no error. But if I try this one with something that is not number and later on change it to number, this thing did not know that the error is already showing. But we've already have all the necessary stuff here because we do all the checking. For you to get here, it means there is no error. So what we just need to do is to call a function, or you just clear the error from here. So this one, we don't need to be doing a lot of things. So I don't need to create the function, because what I want to do here is just being used in one place. It's not like this one that is being used in 3 places. What I want to do here, this is the only place is just being used. So I will just put it there directly. The only time you create a function is when you are reusing something and that thing is repetitive. That's why you create a function. But here, to clear error is just small stuff, and I'm not going to be using it again. So I will just pass it directly inside this place. Let me clear all this one too, like that. And what do we need to do? We just need to do input, then class list, then dot remove. So we need to remove the error that is on the input, and at the same time too, I need the container here too. So I need the container. So we need to get the parent like that. And after getting the stuff in this way, so if it is again too, we check if it is having this P. That's the only time. If it's there, that's the only time we want to remove it. So clear all error if available. If available, there is a condition there, and that's what we are checking here. So that condition is what we are checking here. So we get the container. Inside the container, we locate the P that is there. If you find it, we remove it. If it is not there, then it doesn't do anything. Why do we need to do that? It's because the first time, if I press 8, there is no error there before, so there is no need of us removing anything. But if I put maybe E beside it, there is an error. But if I remove that E, as you can see, it remove it because we fix the problem. So if there is a problem, it will show. But if there is no problem, then it will remove the error. That's this part here. So it's checking if that error is there. If it is there, remove it. If it is not there, don't do anything. And if it is any of this one, add the error, because the way the if work. If it sees this one, this is the only one it will do. It will skip every other one. If it is not this one, then it will check the second one. Then if it's not this one, it will check this one. If it's not this one, then it will now come to this place and perform all this action. And now we have our logic in place. So now if I check this one now, change it to R, as you can see, it will tell you that invalid value like that, or any message. If you want to customize the message like that, or if you want to customize it, so you can always pass it from here where the input is coming from. So where you are calling this in, you can pass the type of the message you want. Maybe it's the bill or the input, but I don't want to complicate this stuff there like that. So that's where that's why we have this thing in this way. So what do we have? We added just simple validation into our inputs, because inputs is something that user can type anything, and this is one way of um, adding validation. So if whatever they type is not valid, we are giving them back a feedback so that they know what is going on. So if they put zero, we put it there that, oh, there's no way your bill will be zero and you are doing any calculation. It doesn't make sense. You always get back zero. So why do you need to calculate? The same thing too, if your bill is here and the number of people is zero, so who are you billing? So this one too, there's nothing to do with it like that. So, and how do you put all this in on the page? The two places that we are focusing on is the bill input and the number of people input. And that's the reason why I have this validate here. So what is the validate going to do? What it's going to do is to check. So anytime this your bill inputs change, it will check whether whatever you put here is okay or not. Another way of solving this problem later on is that anytime any one of them change, it will validate both of them. That's another way of doing it. But here we do not do it like that. We are validating only the one you are working with. You only validate the one you are working with. For example, if something is wrong with this, and later on too, something is wrong with this, and now update this one. As you can see, it only validates the down one, it did not validate the top one, because that's the way we are solving the problem. But if you want to solve the problem in a way that we are doing the checking for both of them, then you don't need to be passing this and this inside. Inside the function, it will do the checking for both of them. The way we did for the calculate here is doing the checking for the three items inside calculate. But here, we are only checking the input that will change. So it's only the input that will change that is going to do the calculation for. And that's the reason why we need to pass the value that we are checking and the input we are working with. And based on this input, then it's going to do some stuff there. And they see the same thing I did here too under the number of people. So under the number of people, I'm calling the same function, which is this validate input. Then we'll pass the value, which is what we got from the input. Again, I pass the input that I'm working with so that I'll be able to target its container. And inside the validate, what we did first is to convert the value to a number, even though we already converted it to a number here. But I'm still doing it down here because this function doesn't care whether you've done it at the top or the down. If you pass number there, it will still work. So if I pass something that is already number, it will still work. Or if I pass it as a string like this, it will still work. As long as it's a number, it will always give you back. Even though we've already converted it, we are still doing it down here to be sure that we are getting a number, because we know that it's already been converted here before we pass it. But we are making sure that everything is still number down here, because this function doesn't know whether we pass number or not. It doesn't know whether we pass number. As you can see, what it's showing right now is any. It doesn't know the value. So here we convert it to number so that the code will give us autocomplete. As you can see now, it's not seeing it as number because we are doing the conversion again. And what are we doing here? We are checking if the value is zero. So if it is zero, we want to display the message for that, because this value can't be zero. So when it is zero, this is what is going to display like this. So if it is zero, if the value is zero, this is what we are displaying there like that. And if the value is less than zero, so which means we have something like minus or negative there. So this is the message we are displaying there. And if it is not valid, that means you are having anything there that is not a number. So if the thing cannot convert everything to number, it's going to resolve into the, which is this invalid value. But what if everything is now okay? So if I remove this and I put a valid value, then we are clearing any error that we have there. In case there is error, we clear it, because you don't know whether this is the first time they are calling this, they are doing it, or this is the second time, or this is the third time, or there is an error before or not. There's no way you know ahead of time. So what you do is to create a code that will undo everything. So if it is there before, what do? We remove it. But if it is not there, then we are not doing anything, because at that point we know that nothing is there at all. And again, we have another function here, which is this create error message. And what does it do? It receives the input where you want to put the message, or you want to put the error there like that, and again the message, because you can see we are using it 3 times, and the 3 times we are using it, the messages are different. So this function needs to know which message to use when it is zero, when it is less than zero, or when it is not even a valid number. So that's why we receive message. But how do we put the error? How do we put the error down here? We are creating the element from JavaScript. And in order for us to create the element and put it on the page, we need to locate where we want to place the element. So we need to have access to this container in our JavaScript so that we'll be able to place this p tag there like this. But in our JavaScript code, we don't have access to that container. So we don't have access to this container. So in order for us to have access to this container, one way of doing it is by giving it ID and you locate it. But there's a problem with this method. The problem with the method is that there is no way you will know, because here the function we are calling did not differentiate whether it is the bill input or it is the number of people input. There is no differentiation. So, and since there is no differentiation, we need to have other way of targeting any one of the input parents there like that. So how do you do that? Since we have access, so since we have access to the input, from this input we can always we can always locate the parent of that element. So if you have this div and you want to get its parent from this element from JavaScript, you can locate its parent there like that. And that's what we are doing from our code here. So we have access to the input. So in order for us to get the parent of the input, so this is the parent of the input, this is the input, we want to get this parent. So since we want to get this parent, then on that input we can use this parent element. This one will give us, so whatever this one is returning is now going to be the parent of this input. But that's not what we need. What we need is actually this one. But you can't just jump from input here to this one because they are not inside each other directly. So first you have to leave this one first, then you now get to this one. And that's what we did here. First we locate the parent of the input, then after getting the parent of the input, that one too we now locate its own parent so that we can put the p inside it like this. And that's what I'm calling container here. So container is the parent of this one, which is this one too is now the parent of this one here. So the input needs to go to this grandparent, and in order for it to get to this grandparent, it needs to get to this parent first. Then this parent will now give access to the grandparent, and that's what we did here. From input, we get its own parent. Then the parent of this input now give us access to its own parent too. And there is now a problem we discover there. Anytime there is error, what we are doing before, it's creating multiple error, because anytime you do appear, anytime you call this function, it will create a new p tag, and once you create a new p tag, it will put all the necessary stuff there. But if the error is already there before, we don't want to create another one. We want to update existing error, and that's what we are checking here first. We are checking whether there is that p is already there inside that container. So we check if this p with the class error is already inside this container. If it is there, it will give us that p here, and that's what we are checking. So if it is not there, what you get back is null. So if it is null, this one will be false, because when you are using null as boolean, so I told you all the false value, anytime you use them as a boolean, it will be false. So this is what we call false value. So if it is not there, this thing will turn to false, and since it's false, it will not do anything here. What it will do is that it will create a new element. But the next time we are getting error, it will see it as a p. So it will see it, since it's seeing it here, it will not be error again, it's going to be true. And since it's true, the only thing it will just do, it will update the message that is there, and that's what is happening here like that. So if I remove this stuff, it will for example, I put minus here, it will see it as invalid value. But now if I put 3, the message will update, not that it will create another message under it. So if it's not there before, it will create a new one, but if it is there, then it's going to remove it. And again, to the input, we are adding the error class on it like this. So this is what is going on the page. And you now, for the assignment, so for the assignment now, this is what I want you to work on. Have I sent this in to you, the project this in folder, the project folder? Have I sent it to you?
Yes, yes, sir.
So this is what you now be working on. Let me go there.
Yes, you
uh
have, sir.
yeah. Let me go to, where's the design file? This is tip. Let me go to where it is. So where's my name? So this is my name. Let me close all this one. design UI. Let me open it. So let's look at the one you can work on. So let me see. Uh, want to increase. Where is it? Where is it? The calculator. Um, Looking at the one that is having JavaScript. So let me see interactive cards. So anything that have interactive, it means uh, there is this in there. So let me see what is going on here. Let me see the design. No, 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 no. This one is really long, really long, really long. Interactive comment section, interacting, pricing. Let me see this one. Narrative pricing. This one too. There's some CSS stuff going on there. Uh, no. Um, yeah. So let's. This is what you are going to do. So interactive rating. Even though this thing have two pages, but only one of them you are going to work with. So this is it. Here. So this is it. This is what you are going to work on. It's loading. Yeah. So this is what you are going to work on. Only this page alone. And what are you doing there? This is what you are going to do. I hope you can hear me because I want to explain what is going on with this. I hope you can hear me. Oh,
Yes, I can.
yeah. So what is going on here is that you are going to have all these buttons here, and you'll be able to pick any one of them. And once you click on submit there like that, everything we have here will now change. So everything we have here will change to the value that you pick here. For example, here now, if I select, maybe I pick one and I click on submit. Once I click on submit, everything that is here will get replaced by the number that I select there. I hope you get it. I hope you get what I just
Please
explained.
explain, sir.
So yeah, let me bring out this my let me bring by my
Sir, please.
yeah, yeah, I will do that. I want to bring out a brush. My Let me draw with brush. So let me draw with brush. Let me draw with brush. Draw with brush. All right, the brushes, yeah. So look at this stuff here. Look at all this number. We have how many number here? We have 1 to 5 rating, right? We have 1 to 5 rating, right?
Yes, sir.
So now imagine I now
Yes,
click
sir.
on 2. So I click on 2. So when 2 is click on, and after the 2 is click on, you now click on this submit. Everything that I have here will get replaced with the value that I click on. So if I click on 2, so that means the entire stuff here will now show this 2 like this. So if I click on 3, assuming it is 3 that I click on, let me remove all this thing again. So let me remove all this thing. Uh, so let me remove this and let me bring my this in. So look at it. I have this stuff. So I have all this number. So assuming I click on 3, so I click on 3, then after clicking on 3, then you click on submit. So once you click on submit, everything that we have here, everything that is here will now get replaced with the number that you click on. I hope you get it now.
Yes, sir.
This is when you load, just like the way we have it here, just like the way I have everything here, like that. You know, the first time this thing is loading, there is nothing there at all. Let me. So the first time this thing will be loading, as you can see, nothing is here. So you can think of it as that for this one too. What's wrong with this thing? So nothing is here. So the same thing here too. The first time, this is how everything is going to look like, which I have all this number. Then from there, after that, I was able to change the stuff. So here too, you should be able to click on this number or any of this number. And any one of them you click on, it will change to something like this. Let me use this one. Let me even use this one. Let me reload. As you can see, if I have this 5%, 10%, 15%, 70, and so forth like that. So you can think of it as all this number too. So we have 1, I have 2, I have 3, I have 4, and I have 5. So here now, I can click on any one of them. So if I click on 10, as you can see, it's showing that 10 is the one that I clicked on. The same thing here too. If you click on 1, it will show that is one that you click on. If I change it now from 10% to 70, as you can see, it's no longer show on 10 again. It's now showing on 70. The same thing here too. Since I've removed it from 1 and I click on 3, the active state is going to show on this 3 that this is the current one that you click on. So just like the way it is here. So if I click on 5, it's showing that it's 5 that I click on. If I click on 15, it's showing that it is 15 that I click on. That's the same thing as all this button too. The design is there. So let me remove this one so that you see how it looks like when it is active. So when it is active, or anytime you click on any of the button, this is how they are going to look like. So any one of them you click on, can you see? So any one of them you click on, this is how the button will look like. So this is this is how it's going to look like. So your button has been clicked on here. So when you click on any button, any one of them that you click on, this is the background it needs to show, that orange background, just like the way it is here, that is showing this cyan. So if I click on 5, it has changed. Click on 50, it has changed. 70, 10, 25, and so forth like that. The same thing here too. If you click on 1, it will show this orange background there. That's one you click on. If you click on 3, it will show that that's the 3 that you click on there like that. But once you now click on submit, so once you click on submit, everything that I have here, everything that is here, so everything here is going to be removed and it will replace with the number that you click on. So if it is 2, it will show 2 here. If it is 3, then that means 3 is what is going to show here. If it is 4 that you select before you click on submit, that means it's the 4 that is going to show at this place. And if you click on submit, when you've not picked any number, it will show error message that you've not select anything there like that. Hope you get it now.
Sir.
What do you say?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that is going to be this.
Work on it.
Yeah, please do. Before I will not do it in the next class. There like that. So, but in the next class after this, I will not spend a lot of time on it because it's part of what we've talked about. So in the next class, I'll be talking about after this project. I'll be talking about different array methods that you can work with. Then from there, I will move into import and export. And if there is time, I don't think that will be the other one will be able to come in. So I will talk about import and export and array methods and solution to this assignments there like that. So that's what is going to be the next class stuff. So that we can be able to move to framework to see a lot of things here. We can do it with JavaScript, but there's a lot of code we are going to be writing. Look at simple stuff we did. There's a lot of code that we are writing. So it would be nice if you use a framework that simplifies the stuff for us. These days, nobody is doing things directly like this. Though when you get to framework, all these things will come in use. Just that you will not be doing it directly like this yourself. Like that we are creating the element like this in JavaScript. It will give us a way that we'll be able to be creating element the way we are doing it from HTML. So instead of us generating the element like this, like create it in this way, then from there use this way to put the content inside it. With framework, we are going to be doing it directly like this. It's not the framework that will create all the code that will be doing the JavaScript behind the scene. So that's why we need the framework there like that. Because doing all this thing yourself these days is waste of time to be doing all this generating, and be handling some side effects. So all these side effects that we're handling here, once we get to framework, we're not going to be doing too much of all this thing there like that. Even though you get its own this thing too, but make it easier for you to work compared to JavaScript directly. So instead of you doing JavaScript directly like this, adding events in this way, and again removing element, adding, that will make it easier for us without us creating the element in this way. So it will make it. But once we get there too, the experience you have there is what you'll be using it, because there's no way you want to get there and you don't know what is if, you don't know how to just like make it easier for us to do the same. Let me stop the recording.